Many kings wanted power, many rulers wanted wealth, many generals wanted victory. But one boy wanted something larger. He wanted the world. His name was Alexander. More than 2,000 years later, people still remember him. Not because he inherited a kingdom, because he refused to stop there. Alexander was born in 356 BC. His birthplace was Macedonia, a kingdom north of Greece. At the time, Macedonia was not respected by everyone. Many Greeks considered it uncivilized, but Alexander's father had different plans. His name was King Philip II, and he dreamed of building a powerful empire. Philip was a brilliant military leader. He transformed Macedonia. He trained soldiers differently. He created stronger armies. He defeated powerful enemies. Every year, his kingdom grew larger. Young Alexander watched everything carefully. He admired his father, but he also wanted to surpass him. Alexander's mother was named Olympias. She was intelligent, ambitious, passionate. She often told Alexander stories about heroes, especially Achilles, the legendary warrior of Greek mythology. Alexander listened closely. He wanted to become a hero too. From an early age, Alexander seemed different. He learned quickly. He asked difficult questions. He remembered details. He enjoyed challenges. Many children wanted games. Alexander wanted stories about battles, explorers, kings, and distant lands nobody had conquered. One day, a horse trader arrived at the royal court. He brought a powerful black horse. The animal was enormous, strong, fast, but nobody could control it. The horse kicked, jumped, and frightened every rider. Eventually, Philip ordered it removed. Then something unexpected happened. Alexander stepped forward. "I can ride him?" The adults laughed. The horse was dangerous. Experienced riders had failed. Why would a boy succeed? But Alexander remained confident. He had noticed something others missed. The horse was afraid of its own shadow. Alexander slowly turned the horse toward the sun. The shadow disappeared. The animal became calmer. Then Alexander climbed onto its back. Moments later, he was riding across the field. Everyone watched in amazement. King Philip was proud. Some stories say tears filled his eyes. Then he told Alexander something famous. "My son, find yourself a kingdom equal to your ambitions. Macedonia is too small for you." The words stayed with Alexander forever. As Alexander grew older, his education became serious. The king wanted the best teacher possible, so he hired one of the greatest thinkers in history, a philosopher named Aristotle, the same Aristotle whose ideas are still studied today. Alexander became his student. Lessons took place outdoors, under trees, in gardens, along quiet paths. Aristotle taught science, politics, geography, literature, and philosophy. Alexander loved learning, especially anything related to the wider world. Aristotle described distant countries, foreign cultures, unknown animals, faraway rivers, mountain ranges. Alexander listened with fascination. The world seemed enormous, and he wanted to see every part of it. Books became important to him. One book mattered more than any other: the Iliad, the story of Achilles. Alexander carried a copy everywhere. He studied it constantly. The hero became his inspiration. He wanted glory. He wanted greatness. He wanted to be remembered forever. Meanwhile, King Philip continued expanding Macedonia. Victory followed victory. New lands joined the kingdom. New cities paid tribute. Philip's influence spread across Greece. His dream was becoming reality, but Alexander was growing impatient. He wanted adventures of his own. When Alexander was 16, something unusual happened. His father left on a military campaign. Someone needed to rule temporarily. Philip chose Alexander. Many thought he was too young, but Alexander quickly proved himself. A rebellion began. He crushed it immediately. The experience changed him. For the first time, he tasted leadership. For the first time, he gave commands. People obeyed. Problems were solved. Victories were achieved. Alexander realized something important. He enjoyed leading, very much. As the years passed, Alexander gained military experience. He joined campaigns, observed battles, learned strategy, watched experienced commanders. He noticed every detail, every success, every mistake. He was preparing himself, even if he did not fully realize it yet. Then came a major battle, the Battle of Chaeronea. Alexander was only 18, but he fought beside his father. The fighting was intense. The future of Greece was at stake. Alexander led a cavalry charge and helped secure victory. The battle made his reputation grow. People noticed him. Soldiers respected him. Commanders admired him. Many now believed Alexander could one day become king, but nobody expected how soon that day would come. In 336 BC, everything changed. King Philip attended a celebration. Guests filled the city. The atmosphere felt joyful. Then tragedy struck. Philip was assassinated. Suddenly, Macedonia lost its king. Alexander was only 20 years old. The kingdom entered uncertainty. Enemies sensed weakness. Rivals watched closely. Some hoped Macedonia would collapse. Others expected civil war. Many believed Alexander was too young, too inexperienced, too ambitious. They would soon discover they were wrong. Alexander acted quickly. He secured the throne, removed threats, won support from the army, strengthened alliances. Every decision happened fast. He understood the danger. A weak king would lose everything. A strong king could survive. Soon, rebellions spread across Greece. Several cities believed Macedonia was vulnerable. One city rebelled openly, Thebes. The rebels thought Alexander would hesitate. Instead, he marched immediately. His army moved with incredible speed. The Greeks were shocked. Alexander surrounded Thebes. The city resisted. Fighting erupted. Eventually, Macedonia won. The rebellion ended. News spread everywhere. The young king was not weak. He was decisive, dangerously decisive. After that, many enemies became cautious. Now Alexander stood at the beginning of something extraordinary. His father had united Macedonia, but Alexander wanted more, far more. Across the sea lay the Persian Empire, the largest empire in the world. Most people saw an impossible challenge. Alexander saw an opportunity, and soon he would begin a journey that would change history forever. In the spring of 334 BC, Alexander made his move. He crossed the Hellespont, the narrow waterway between Europe and Asia. For many soldiers, it felt like a normal campaign. For Alexander, it felt different. He was leaving the known world behind. Ahead lay the Persian Empire, the greatest power on earth. The Persian Empire stretched across 3 continents. Millions of people lived under its rule. Its king was Darius III. Its wealth seemed endless. Its armies were enormous. Many believed nobody could defeat it. Alexander was 22 years old, and he intended to try. Soon, the two sides met. The first major battle took place at the Granicus River. Persian forces waited on the opposite bank. Crossing the river would be dangerous. Many generals advised caution. Alexander ignored them. He led the attack himself. The fighting was fierce. Arrows filled the air. Horses crashed into soldiers. Swords flashed everywhere. At one point, Alexander nearly died. An enemy warrior raised his weapon. The king was saved at the last moment. Victory came, but only barely. The battle changed everything. Greek cities in Asia began opening their gates. Many welcomed Alexander. Others surrendered without resistance. The young king continued moving forward. He rarely slowed down. Every victory increased his confidence and his reputation. The following year brought a greater challenge. Near the town of Issus, Alexander finally faced King Darius himself. The Persian ruler arrived with a massive army. Some ancient sources claimed hundreds of thousands of soldiers. The exact number remains uncertain, but everyone agreed on one thing. Darius greatly outnumbered Alexander. Before the battle, Alexander inspected his troops. Many were nervous. They had never faced such a powerful enemy. Alexander spoke calmly. He reminded them of their victories, their training, their courage. The speech worked. The army believed in him. The battle began. Dust covered the battlefield. Commands echoed across the plain. Persian forces pushed forward. Alexander saw an opening. Immediately, he led a cavalry charge, straight toward Darius, straight toward the center, straight toward history. The attack created panic. Persian lines began breaking apart. Then something unexpected happened. Darius fled. When soldiers saw their king retreating, many followed. The mighty Persian army collapsed. Alexander had defeated the most powerful ruler in the world. After the battle, Alexander entered Darius's camp. There he found immense treasures, gold, silver, luxury items. But he also discovered something else. The Persian king's family. Instead of treating them harshly, Alexander treated them with respect. His reputation grew again. The road to Persia remained open. But Alexander did not rush immediately east. First, he moved south. He wanted control of the Mediterranean coast. Several cities surrendered. One city refused, Tyre, and Tyre seemed impossible to conquer. Tyre stood on an island. Strong walls surrounded it. The sea protected it. Many believed the city could survive forever. Alexander disagreed. He ordered something extraordinary. His soldiers began building a road through the sea itself. Month after month, construction continued. The defenders watched in disbelief. Slowly, the road approached the island. Then came the final assault. After a long siege, Tyre fell. The victory shocked the ancient world. Nothing seemed impossible anymore. After Tyre, Alexander marched into Egypt. The Egyptians welcomed him. Unlike previous rulers, he was seen as a liberator. Crowds greeted him. Priests honored him. The young king received admiration everywhere he went. During his time in Egypt, Alexander founded a new city. Its name was Alexandria. At first, it was only a plan. Lines drawn in the sand. But eventually, it became one of the most famous cities in history. Its name still survives today. Alexander then turned east again. One goal remained unfinished. Darius still lived. The Persian Empire still existed. The final confrontation was coming. Both leaders knew it. Both prepared carefully. The future of the ancient world depended on the next battle. The armies met at Gaugamela. This would become Alexander's greatest victory. Darius assembled a huge force, war chariots, cavalry, infantry, everything Persia could offer. Alexander's army was smaller, but it was disciplined and experienced. The battle lasted for hours. Dust covered the horizon. Men fought across a vast field. Alexander searched for weakness. Then he found it. Once again, he launched a direct attack toward Darius. Once again, the Persian king fled. Once again, the empire collapsed. After Gaugamela, Persia was effectively defeated. Alexander entered its greatest cities, Babylon, Susa, Persepolis. Each contained incredible wealth. Treasures accumulated over centuries. Alexander now ruled lands larger than anyone had imagined. Many kings would have stopped there. Alexander did not. The edge of the known world still called to him. He marched farther east, across deserts, mountains, rivers, and unfamiliar territories. His army followed, though exhaustion was growing. Years passed. The campaign continued. Eventually, Alexander reached India. The journey had already covered thousands of kilometers. Many soldiers had left home as young men. Now they were older, tired, homesick. Yet Alexander wanted to continue. One final major battle awaited. There, Alexander faced King Porus. Unlike previous enemies, Porus brought war elephants. The animals terrified many soldiers. The battlefield became chaos. But Alexander adapted, as he always did. Eventually, victory belonged to him. After the battle, Alexander met Porus. The defeated king stood proudly. Alexander asked how he wished to be treated. Porus answered simply, like a king. Alexander admired the response. Instead of punishing him, he allowed him to remain a ruler. Soon after, Alexander's army reached its limit. The soldiers refused to march farther. They wanted home. For the first time in years, Alexander could not persuade them. Reluctantly, he agreed to turn back. The dream of reaching the end of the world would remain unfinished. In 323 BC, Alexander died in Babylon. He was only 32 years old. Nobody knows exactly why. Illness, poison, disease. Historians still debate the answer, but one fact remains certain. Alexander changed history. He built one of the largest empires the world had ever seen. He connected cultures, founded cities, inspired legends, and proved how far ambition could carry a single human being. More than 2,000 years later, people still remember Alexander the Great.